So, you know how we all basically live in the cloud now, right? Streaming movies, working from home, all our social media. It all feels so virtual, kind of weightless. But what if I told you that this digital world has a very real and actually very heavy physical footprint on our planet?
Okay, let me throw a number at you. 2%. What's that, you ask? Well, that is the slice of the entire world's electricity that data centers are gobbling up right now. That's a staggering amount of power, all just to keep our digital lives running smoothly.
And that's because the cloud isn't, well, it's not actually a cloud. It's not some fluffy thing floating in the sky. It's built on these massive, very real physical data centers. We're talking huge buildings packed with rows and rows of powerful humming servers. And all that hardware is incredibly thirsty for energy, running 24/7.
So, with this energy demand just growing and growing, it begs the question, what's being done about it? Well, the companies that build the cloud have a huge responsibility here. So let's take a look at one of the biggest players, Google, and see how they're tackling their sustainability mission.
For Google, it's really a two-pronged attack, being super efficient and getting really, really creative. On the efficiency front, their data centers were the first in the world to get this ISO 14001 certification, which is basically a global playbook for reducing waste. But they also get innovative. For instance, their data center in Finland actually uses cold seawater for cooling, a world first that dramatically slashes its energy consumption.
And you know, this isn't some new fad for them. It's been a long-term journey. In their first decade, they became the first major company to be carbon neutral. In their second decade, they hit 100% renewable energy matching. And now, for their third decade, they're setting an even bigger goal, to operate completely carbon-free by 2030. That's a huge leap.
Okay, so that's the big picture mission. But how does that philosophy actually translate into the real world? How does it impact us? Let's zoom in on a fantastic case study about a company called Kaluza, which is using this tech to spark a smart charging revolution.
We all know electric vehicles are amazing for the planet, right? And their growth is just exploding. Right now, 1 in every 7 cars sold is an EV. But by 2040, that's forecast to be 73 million cars a year. Now that's incredible news, but it also creates a brand new, massive challenge for our energy grids.
So here's the core problem. Just imagine, it's 6 p.m., everyone gets home from work, pulls into the driveway, and what's the first thing they do? They plug in their car to charge, all at the exact same time. Suddenly, the demand on the power grid just skyrockets, which could lead to overloads or even power outages.
This really leaves us with 2 different paths. There's the old way, what we call peak charging, that creates super high demand on the grid, which means higher costs and more pollution. Then there's the new way, smart charging. And this approach completely flips the model. It shifts charging to those off-peak times when the grid is quiet, the energy is cleaner, and the electricity is way, way cheaper.
And this is exactly where Kaluza comes in with their Charge Anytime program. And for the driver, it's ridiculously simple. You get home, you plug in your car like you always would, and then you just forget about it. Kaluza's platform does all the heavy lifting, analyzing grid data to find the absolute best time to charge overnight when power is greenest and cheapest. You just wake up and your car is ready to go.
And what does this mean for your wallet? Get this. Customers who use this smart charging tech pay about a third of the normal price to power up their car. That is a huge saving, so it's a win for you and a win for the planet. So, how is all of this even possible? I know, it sounds a little bit like magic, but it's actually some really sophisticated technology working perfectly behind the scenes. Let's pop the hood and take a look at the Google Cloud tools that make it all happen. First up, we have BigQuery. You can think of this as the brain of the entire operation. It's basically a massive data warehouse that's constantly taking in and analyzing real-time information. Everything from your car's battery level to how clean the grid's energy is at that very moment to price forecasts. It crunches all that data to train the system's smart models. Next up, once you have those brilliant models, you need a way to actually use them. That's where Google Kubernetes Engine comes in. If BigQuery is the brain, this is the nerve center. It takes those models and puts them into action. The moment you plug your car in, it calculates the perfect custom charging schedule for your specific car and sends the instructions. And finally, there's Looker Studio. This is pretty much the control panel for the energy companies themselves. It gives them these clean, easy-to-read dashboards so they can see exactly what's happening on their network at any given time, like how many cars are charging and how many are waiting. It gives them all the vital info they need to keep the grid balanced and healthy. Okay, so we've looked at the high-level mission, and we've drilled down into a super specific real-world example.
Now let's zoom back out to the big picture and talk about what this means for building a more sustainable future.
And this is really the key takeaway here. It's not just about one company's ambitious goals. It's about empowering everyone, businesses, governments, and individuals just like you and me, to use technology as a seriously powerful tool to solve our biggest environmental challenges.
And that kind of leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? We've seen how cloud computing can help solve the massive challenge of charging millions of electric cars. So the real question is, what other huge global problems are out there, just waiting for us to point a smarter, more connected solution at them?